Well, hello again. It's Tim again, and George. Told you I was gonna put them fucking teeth in. See? How do you like me now? So, as I've said before, I really don't want to do this, but God tells me I need to do this for whatever reason. I do not know, other than if I can instill hope or some wisdom or just some little bit of ease from whatever happens to be burdening you that day, I don't have all the answers. I don't really have any answers, I'm not God. I mean, God speaks through me, God saved me and carries me through and has granted me wisdom and some other gifts that I've been using my whole life. I'll say hi to George. Hi, George. Hey, George. Dripping hot slime on me. And for any kind of naysayers or anything, that have anything to say about me recording while I'm driving, I get it. You can't do what I do. I'm a professional Class A driver. I've driven in all environments, all terrains, and I have my eyes on the road. I am a trained professional. For those of you that need a friggin' warning label because whatever, for whatever reason, don't try this at home. I am a trained professional. I've got more miles in reverse, and realistically, probably about 200,000-300,000 miles just in reverse. So I've got this. But I guess I'll start kind of from the beginning and go from there. And again, do not give me pity. Do not send me messages or anything say, oh, I can't believe you've been through this and everything else, you poor thing. No, I'm not a poor thing. Okay? Financially, yes, I've been a very poor thing. But, alright, drive right, whatever you guys are doing in front of me, you need to stop doing one thing or the other, because doing both and driving is not working out for you. Come on, dipshit. There you go. It's only driving. Skinny one's on the right. Harder you press it, faster you go. There you go. But, anyway, yes, hi, George, I love you. As you're dripping hot slime on me. But, dog life. That's my best friend. That's my son. That's my kid. Where I go, he goes. Most of the time. And he's a good boy most of the time. But, alright. Now back to where I was. I'm trying to keep these videos kind of a little bit shorter because I know today's generation ain't got quite the fucking attention span to fill a fucking thimble. That's why you always got you facing the goddamn screen. Don't know how to read a book and stuff, and that's just observation stuff that I've personally observed. So you got something to say about it? Well, here I am. Say it, but be fucking respectful because I'm a wordsmith. You don't want me to freaking use what I've had to use for 50 plus years as a weapon. So conduct yourself accordingly. But here goes. I was born on Monday, June 3rd, 1974 at 12:43 in the afternoon. And I can't tell you what the weather is, but I can tell you what it probably was. I was born through C-section. And as far as I know, this is what I remember. God damn it. Somebody gotta fucking call me while I'm doing a goddamn motherfucker. Yeah. I don't like being disturbed because I hate having to repeat myself. And like I said, as you can see, I'm not a perfect being. I still have, some issues and everything, and God is delivering me from those. But, as I was saying, I was born, on a Monday at 12:43 in the afternoon. And as far as I know, as far as I can remember, I think my mother had told me that I was born stillbirth, and that's why I had to be born through emergency cesarean. I don't know if that's completely true or not. Only family members of my biological family would be able to tell if that's true. But that's the story that I remember hearing. So I don't know if it was true or not. Heart disease and stuff does run in my family. My brother died of congenital heart disease at 5 days old, and I'm going to actually get to that. Don't really remember too much for the first 2 years. I remember being potty trained and all that. I was potty trained by the time I was 18 months. I was reading by the time I was 2. I could talk at 18 months. I think my first word was fuck, but that's no shit of a lie. That's God's honest. But then, come up on 3 years old. All right. My mother was pregnant, and I was the happiest kid in the world because I was going to have a little brother, and I loved that child almost with an unnatural amount of love. I don't even know how I loved him so much. I mean, I remember I used to rub my mother's belly and I'd sing to him and everything. His name was William Goodsight. His father was Bill Goodsight, who has passed. He was originally from Portland, Maine. Shout out to Patricia Goodsight and Bill's brother Ralph and all that. Bill was the only man I ever called daddy. The only man I ever remember calling daddy, put it that way. And him and my mother were actually married, and he stuck around to be my father until, once my, I'm getting ahead of myself. But Billy was born on March 22nd, 1977, and he died on March 27th, 1977 of congenital heart disease. He had a hole in his heart. I don't remember what size coin it was that it was the size of, but it couldn't be fixed in 1977. If it had happened today, he'd probably be right here or beside me, or would both be in jail or fucking prison or some shit. But I didn't realize how bad it had affected me when Billy died. I remember, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I'd wake up and there'd be times I would be screaming for him, say, Mama, I want Billy, I want Billy, I want Billy. And it really fucked me up now that I look back on it. And my mother didn't even understand just how badly it affected me. And she was his mother. She was the one that had to bury him every day. I wasn't even allowed to see what he looked like. My mother didn't want me to see him like that. And it really, now that I'm looking back, it really, really fucked me up. That was my first experience with death, and it was a fucking doozy, let me tell you. I mean, it still brings tears to my eyes to talk about Billy, because that's something I have still yet to let go. I know he's with God. I know that he's going to be at an age when I finally go home to heaven and meet him. He's going to be at an age where we can enjoy each other's company and we can enjoy eternity together. And I will finally get a chance to be the brother that I'm just trying not to get emotional. I didn't get a chance to be that little boy's brother. And today, if I call you my brother, you look me in the eye, if I could, the sun's kind of fucking with me, but look me in the eye, and if I call you my brother, that's for life. And I don't think I've ever unbrothered anybody. There's just brothers that I have that I still love, I just don't fuck with. And that's other stories. But, that was a real bad blow. And I didn't realize how bad until I got old enough to understand. That was my first brush with trauma, because that was a traumatic experience. It fucked me up really badly. And then, if you see this, okay, that is a claw deformity. I was not born that way. My Uncle Teddy, was a lot shorter than me, but about twice my width. And he did not play. I mean, he literally ripped my father's ear pretty much off his head. I didn't see it, but my mother told me about it. He called my mother a bitch in front of him. He was somebody who did not fuck with. He spent a lot of time in prison. He was a bigger dude and lifted weights for a long time. Nobody fucked with Teddy. And I wanted to be like him, And he had like a little gym set up at my grandmother's house, and I believe I picked a lock to it. with a steak knife. I remember having a steak knife in my hand and getting into this door that had the old kind of keyhole like a skeleton key would take. You know, the kind of round one with the little taper thing down to the bottom. Your typical like comic book keyhole. And so I was a hellion even back then. I was pretty good at figuring shit out. So I had picked this fucking lock and got in. And me and my cousin Jan had taken one of my uncle's dumbbells. It was only, come to find out, they were only 10-pound dumbbells, but they were the old plastic ones that had the concrete in them, and it had the little tube that went in between to make a dumbbell, and it was supposed to have little end caps on. It was like thin aluminum, and we lifted it up over our heads like this, each of us on an end, and Jan dropped her end, and I held on to mine. I was committed, and I was overly committed, and fell down like this and cut off and crushed my finger at the same time. And I'm 3 years old, and I let out a horrific scream. I remember this, and part of how I remember this kind of shit, people, is the way my mind works is a blessing and a curse, because I don't just, see images and everything. It's full sensory. I am there. It's 100%, all 5 senses, taste, touch, smell, everything, fucking all the taste, fucking salty, sweet, fucking bitter, sour, and umami, okay? And it comes in handy, but the shit that I wish I could forget, I can't, and I relive shit, like when I got molested. I relive that shit. I feel it. I taste it, and it fucking sucks. But so I can actually, as I talk about, I can feel the weights. Like my hand hurts right now. I can feel the weights cutting my finger off, and screaming, and my mother coming in and grabbing me and rushing me to the bathtub and turning the water on full bore and sticking my hand under there, because it was just hanging off by a little flap of skin, as you can see. Now, I've had several surgeries on it. It still had a nail on it and everything else. And, that was another trauma. We didn't know if there was going to be a finger there when they cut my cast off. And I was told not to fuck with it. Of course I did. And, apparently I bled out, because my mother said I almost died and had to have a transfusion and everything. It was fucking literally squirting blood. Who knew? But I was in the hospital. Dr. Woodcock is a doctor that worked on it and everything. And it's got K wires in it. I can't bend it. It's my little Mr. Hook friggin' nose picker. And among other things. I'll keep it as clean as I can. I have to remember that I'm a man of God, but I talk the way I talk. So if you don't like it, well, hate to burst your bubble, but I'm not here for what you like. I'm here for what God tells me to do. And He told me to do this, so I'm doing it. If you think you're better than God, well, newsflash, no the fuck you ain't. Nobody is. But, so I'm in the hospital at Eastern Maine Medical Center, and I was a sociable kid even then, and I'd get up, and I would escape my confines, and I'd go visit people and play with toys. I'd be wandering around the hospital like nothing but a thing, having the fucking cast on my arm, and I had one of those mobile friggin' IV things there that you could walk around with you. Well, the hospital really couldn't have that, because they didn't know where I was. They come by and say, where the fuck's Timmy? I'm on, like, God knows where the fuck I'm at. I'm in the maternity ward. I'm fucking visiting people, sitting there trying to read people's stories and shit, playing with toys, whatever the fuck, visiting people, that's how we do in Maine. And, so what they had to do is they put a clear plexiglass fucking capsule that looks like a coffin lid that went in between the rails on the bed. And I fucking loved the thing. I thought that was the greatest thing. And I always wondered where my love of tight, confined spaces come from. And not just the womanly ones either, but the worldly ones. And it doesn't bother me. I like to be in my little cocoon. I could be in the submarine. Doesn't bother me for shit. And because of all that, my mother had a nervous breakdown. She was a hardcore drug addict. She did die 27 years clean and sober, so bravo to her. Fucking right on, my mother was my superhero. And you'll find out more about her and stuff as this, whatever the fuck this is, progresses. And she had a nervous breakdown, and I ended up going to a foster home with this couple named Kathy and Ken. I couldn't ask, don't know what town it was. All I know is Department of Human Services in the state of Maine either put me there, or my mother put me there, but my mother had to come rescue me with some other people because they wouldn't remove me from that home. And they were beating the fuck out of me. And I mean, when I tell you they were beating the fuck out of me, to the point my mother came and got me. And I don't know if there was a fight, but I'm pretty sure there was, because I know how my mother was. And this bitch fucking Kathy and Ken used to literally beat me with fly swatters, extension cords, wire hangers and shit, to where it left marks. And it traumatized me to where I don't like, even to this day, I don't like confrontation. I can handle it. For those of you that ever want to fucking try me, don't. Because I'm a man of peace, but I'm very well versed in the art of war. As I've said before, I was victimized most of my life. Don't fuck with me, okay? I'll love you, but I'll fucking, that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm not trying to posture or anything like that. It's just people like me. Yeah, if I can give millennials and Gen Z or whoever the fuck else a word of advice, don't fuck with us. And that's not a warning. That's just fucking sage advice. Do not fuck with people that have been traumatized their entire life, because it ain't gonna work out well for you. Okay. But anyway, that happened. I remember sitting on the hood of a black car. I even had a picture in one of my photo albums that my mother had from that day. I was wearing a little red fucking sweater, long sleeve sweater, that thing, and it kind of buttoned down and everything. And I'm just a little 3 years old. I mean, the hood looked like a fucking football field I was sitting on. But they came to save me, and that's where I guess I'll leave this for today. And the point of that is, God saw me through all of that. You know, even at that age, I had such a capacity for love that Billy's death still affects me. When I go to Bangor, I make it a habit to find his grave, and I go spend time with my brother. He's only got a little head marker and all that. It doesn't have an actual headstone. He's got a that little boy's gonna have a fucking monument, okay? Because I love my brother, and I love you. And if I call you my brother, that's forever. And as I've started, this is for those of you that feel unloved or feel that nobody loves you. As long as I draw breath, just know that there's one person in this world that truly gives a fuck about you. I don't have to know you. I don't have to know your story. If you want to provide it, that's fine. But that's not a prerequisite for me loving you. Well, where God told us, love your brothers and sisters as you have loved me and I have loved you. There were no addendums, there were no fucking footnotes, nothing. And it's so easy to love. It takes effort to hate, and I will do a video on that, I guess, because I guess this is what I'm going to start doing. I don't fucking know, and I have to do it because I don't want to do it, and the reason I don't want to do it is my flesh don't want to do it, but God wants me to do it. That this ain't me. This isn't what I do. I'm more one-on-one. I'm pre-internet, pre-fucking all this bullshit that people got their fucking noses in all goddamn day. Don't know how to have a fucking conversation. They ain't got enough wisdom or intelligence to fill a fucking thimble these days. And there's something that can be done about that. Read books, pick up an encyclopedia, go outside, have a conversation with somebody, for fuck's sake. But as I was saying, as long as I draw breath, always know that one person in this world loves you, and you are worthy to be loved. You are worthy of love. And there's nothing so wrong with you that you're not allowed to be loved. I love you. George loves you. Say hi, George. George, Mia. Okay? George loves you too. You know? You want to be truly loved? Get a dog. Yeah? Like unconditionally, get a dog. Get a cat too, so they can chase your dog around. Mine chases my dog around. But anyway, I love you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You know, just know you're not alone, and one person in this world, Tim, loves you. And if you don't love yourself, fake it. All right? If I can love you and I don't even fucking know you, then you should be able to love yourself. And that's George protecting Daddy. He's supposed to do that. There ain't a mean bone in his body, but you fuck with Daddy, you're going to find out. But, no. I raised him for 3.5 months old. That 30 pounds with Pavo and friggin' almost died in my arms, and that's another story. But anyway. And today's been a day. This key fucking still broke. But I fixed it. It's working. God got me out of the driveway. You know? And God will get you out of whatever you're going through too. Whatever God of your understanding. You ain't even gonna call it God. Just, know there's something out there that's got you back. All right? For those that don't have anything to believe in, think on that. All right? No, and I'm being completely serious. So think on that shit, because to go through this world thinking that you're completely alone and nothing cares about you, that's fucking, that's sad. And I've been down that road a couple of times. I denounced God, several times. But he didn't denounce me. He won't denounce you either. God truly loves you. Something loves you. Don't put a name on it. I remember there was a guy in rehab, and I heard his story, and he was talking about for his first year of sobriety and stuff, a doorknob was his higher power, because at that point in his life, he was beneath that doorknob. But that doorknob, as his temporary higher power, kept him fucking clean and sober for a year. And good sobriety, too. And I'm not going to tell anybody how to be so clean, sober. That's on you. That's your contact with God. But, God got me through today. I had a couple, hiccups. The day is not over, but it's a beautiful day. And, anyway, thanks for at least listening to, some of my story. And that's just the beginning. I'm 51 years old. I'm going to be 52. It's like I've had some moments, but God's been there through every damn one of them. And I'll leave it at that. I love you. Again, if you feel like you're unloved and that nobody cares about you, as long as I draw a breath, and I mean that, I care about you. Tim cares about you. George cares about you. Until you can care about yourself. God cares about you, but we're getting, beyond that. But just know one human being in this world actually cares that you exist and is glad that you exist. Please go on existing. I love you.